everything got really dark and the wind started picking up, the rain really started picking up to where it was pretty much whiting everything out.
Oh my God! Dude, we're in a tornado!
We were able to make it through to the kitchen and started to try to dive under the table and move the chairs, and then the ceiling in the kitchen came down and everything was coming down around us.
It's gone! My livelihood was there.
The tri-state is left to clean up after powerful storms tear through this afternoon and evening. No place was hit harder than Goshen Township, that is under a state of emergency after a likely tornado.
And we say likely because that tornado was indicated by radar but has not yet been officially confirmed by the National Weather Service. With that, we want to say good evening. Our crews have been in the Goshen area since that severe weather began this afternoon.
Yeah, and we have complete team coverage of the storm's impact and for some families a narrow escape. Luke Jones kicks off our coverage. Luke.
Yeah, this office building back here has been completely reduced to just a pile of rubble. Thankfully, the exception rather than the rule here in Goshen. Several hundred homes damaged, but officials say only a handful have been completely flattened. They do, however, confirm 2 injuries today, one from a chainsaw and one from falling debris. All of those injuries described as minor as this community begins the cleanup. Families carrying off what's left of their belongings after a likely tornado ripped the roof off their Goshen home. Downed trees and damaged homes up and down Wood Street. And this house, a first for 93-year-old Paul Lyons, as winds knocked out windows and sent trees crashing down on top of his home.
It sounded to me more like stuff, falling on the roof and maybe a car or truck running into the house or something.
One street over on Goshen Road, the street impassable, some property owners inconsolable.
Not even anything I can pick up and take home with me.
A disheartened Phyllis Morgan learns what became of her real estate company's longtime office.
It's a building we built it. We worked out of it for about 50 years, and it's just real hard.
The fire station next door better. A chunk of the building collapsed as firefighters worked inside, but we're told no one was injured. Brady Gomer could hear the winds from his office next to this Kroger.
Oh, it was screaming under the door. It was being pushed under the door so hard that it was like whistling.
A collection of battered cars, all walking distance from the home where 9-year-old Vincent and his 7-year-old sister were taking shelter in the basement. But even as the winds howled, Vincent says he wasn't scared.
Because I knew we were safe in the basement because the basement is underground and that's where tornadoes cannot reach.
And even where this one did reach, hope isn't lost.
We'll get through it somehow.
And tonight in Goshen, were it not for our camera lights and passing headlights, it would be pitch black right now. I mean, electricity out across this entire area. There is, however, some good news. For hours this afternoon, we watched as a large section of Goshen Road remained closed because of fallen trees and utility poles. But finally, within the last 15 minutes, I watched as crews reopened that road. Paula, back to you.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Luke. And this is certainly a day Goshen residents won't forget, particularly those who came very close to danger. Cassie Arsenault continues our coverage with that part of the story. Cassie.
This all-state building was in the path of the storm, leaving bricks like this thrown all over the lawn over here. Shutters that were ripped from the structure itself. And most shocking of all, walls that crumbled. But we talked to the people inside this building who gave a terrifying account of why this storm made them fear for their lives. A confirmed tornado tore through Goshen, leaving destruction in its path.
But by the time we got up, it was probably within 10 seconds, the ceiling came down on us.
Eric Beaver said he has a changed perspective on life as the walls came down around him and his 4 co-workers. He gave me an interview with pieces of insulation still on his shirt. He said they all dove under a table and made what they thought might be their last phone call.
We told our kids we loved them. We didn't honestly know.
As water pooled around them, live wires and the threat of being electrocuted forced them to jump into action.
We tried to get out through the back because the walls had blown off. and we made it, we made it out.
Similar stories can be heard throughout town, like Liam, who was stuck in his Honda when the cyclone blew through.
When I was driving, it was almost like I was getting hit with waves and waves of water.
Or Daniel and Randallin, who were slinging coffees.
That freight train type sound and everything started blowing around. I seen the trees over here at the entrance of Kroger get sucked up out of the ground.
And as they look around their beloved town of Goshen and get a look at all the damage spread several blocks, they really can only think of one thing.
Once you come out and see the aftermath, you're lucky to be alive.
So the irony in all of this, Allstate is an insurance company, obviously, and while they're dealing with their own damage here at their workplace, they represent people in the community. So they're still working around the clock to help their clients who may have had their homes destroyed or damaged. Kyle, we'll send it back to you.
Neighbors helping neighbors even when they need some help themselves. Cassie, thank you so much. Now, there was more damage just outside the heart of Goshen, and Local 12's Courtney Wheaton was there.
You know, when you first get into town, you notice all the businesses that are damaged. But then when you get into these neighborhoods, you really see just how strong those winds were. Take a look behind me. I want you to see this. Look at this car literally covered in power lines. This is so scary. So many trees just toppled on to their sides. Now, earlier, I did talk to a man that had a tree in his front yard. He talked about those winds coming through earlier.
This tree was just like pushed all the way over.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, wow. And we kind of get scared. We was going to go down the we didn't make it down the basement, but it blew over. I come outside and we seen the tree behind you basically pulled over. I've never seen that's a pretty good sized tree, so it pulled it over.
You know, when you see this, it is absolutely horrifying, just chilling to look at all of this. But one thing that's endearing is definitely when the community comes together. And if you look behind me over here, you can see that family actually, their roof is off of their house, but there's so many people coming together to work together to clean up, and it's going to be a long process, but they will get through it. That's, as you can see, this car coming through. Lots of police are still here on scene working, and they're not done anytime soon. They're going to be working throughout the night. In Goshen, Courtney Wheaton, Local 12 News.